Okay, it looks like I'm live. So I gotta get over to YouTube so that I can see things the way everybody else sees them. Okay. There's that. And then I'll go over to Facebook and post real quick that I'm live.
As we just discussed, the statement from Buckingham Palace says that actually the monarchy, in other words, the Queen and the Cabinet Office, which is a branch of the British government, do not have any jurisdiction over the use of the word money overseas. Effectively, this was Harry and Meghan, whoever saying to the Queen, you're right. It's effectively them saying, okay, well, we could use that word and we could keep this brand name overseas if we wanted to, but we're going to drop it. Now, they currently live in Canada. Now, I'm meant to know these things. Canada is not only a member of the Commonwealth, one of the 50 countries in the Commonwealth, but also one of the 16 realms of which the Queen is still the head of state. So you'd think if she's the head of state, she's the Queen of Canada, she's the Queen of Northern Ireland. Therefore, she kind of does have jurisdiction.
All right, so I'm live.
This statement, for many reasons, but including a lot of focus in this section where they said
all right. So I've been working on some pages that I'm going to put in my latest batch of journals out of those vintage maps. So I've got a few left to do, so I thought I'd come on and to ink, and then I have to glue the map down to the coffee dyed paper, and that's because a lot of these maps are damaged or weak along the seams, and I don't think they'll hold up for use as a page if they're not reinforced in some way. So I thought I would just come on and see if anybody wanted to chat and work on that for a little bit, for about an hour. And then I've got, the usual ironing, and I need to make a new coffee batch. So got, stuff to do today. But we went out yesterday and we went by Home Depot, and that's like a toy store, just like a craft store is. And we wandered around in there for a while. And Mike wound up with some liquid nail and some WD-40, and we just had fun looking. And we went to a couple of other stores and mostly window shopping for the fun of it. Just because it was so nice out yesterday. It was around 70 degrees here, so it got really warm. And then we came home and we had some carnitas and opened up the house because it got so warm outside that it warmed up the whole house on the inside. Please, thank you. And so I spent the evening, I've got some fabric in a tea dye batch. That fabric I showed the other week with the computer coating on it. I've got that in Bima, or else helped me. Well, she didn't help me. She cut it up for me because apparently me and the rotary cutter do not get along. I'm too short for where we cut the fabric. So I can't cut it evenly. I can't apply enough pressure or keep my hand even enough because I have to lean over too far to get to the other end of the fabric. Silly, right? So So I've got some that fabric in the dye right now. Probably after this live, I'll go pull it out because it's been since last night. And it's probably ready to come out of the dye. But there is that. And then I'm getting ready to start another coffee batch, which means I've got some, I think I have about enough to do 1 or 250 packs in the Etsy shop. Because mostly what I did was small pieces and some test lots for some book pages and some graph paper that I wasn't sure if it would hold its lines once it was dyed. I don't like to put in a whole bunch if I'm not 100% sure that it's going to keep its lines. And it turns out from the test batch that it will keep its lines. So in the next batch, I'll be putting in a little bit of graph paper for some kits I have coming up. And then a little bit will probably go into the store. I don't have a ton of graph paper, but it is one of my favorite things to add to a junk journal and to work with as a backing element. It's fun, and it's a little bit different than just plain paper. So it adds some, some dimension and a little bit of flavor to your journal. I imagine it's nice outside today, but I haven't been outside yet. But I'll be making the inside of the house warm in just a little bit. So I'm going to start another coffee batch. Tomorrow or so will probably be about time to start a tea batch because I'm more than halfway through with the one I'm working on, which was actually mostly deli paper. They've been ironing it as it comes out. It's a nice light color. It's got really great color. Minimal effects because it is tea dye, but I really like the way it looks, and it'll definitely add some interest to some journals. And I got everybody that ordered deli paper or ordered regular paper the other day. Your packages went in the mail this morning. It was a day late on that because the deli paper was a little bit further down than I thought it was. And I didn't hit it until yesterday morning. So during the day when we got back and before we left, I spent that time pulling the paper out. And it dries pretty quick because it's deli paper, and ironing it as it came out. So they were put together before I went to bed last night. All bundled up and put into the, which side do I want facing out? I want that side facing out. So when I'm done edging these, I'm going to glue them together. I don't know if I have any in this pile that are damaged, but a number of them, where the folds are, you'll get where the two folds intersect, which I don't have on this page. But often where the 2 points intersect, there'll be like a small tear and it'll pucker there from use because they're vintage maps. They're all from the late 60s and all the way through the 70s. So they do get a little damage on the, I did a thing. I did a weird thing. We're going to have to take that little tiny part off there. We'll see. Because I had it folded down when I cut it, and I made a little weird thing on the paper. All right, so we'll put that off over there. Nothing quite like talking to yourself. I imagine everybody's over at Miss Johnny's sale. I heard from Miss Curly that Johnny's having a sale today. I don't blame you. Johnny's got pretty fabulous stuff. So this will be available for rewatch or not. It's not going to be terribly exciting. It's not like inking edges isn't something you've seen 900 times before. But it's also proof that I do use my own papers. I use them a lot. I just don't normally show it in videos because I don't think about it when I'm assembling stuff. Hi, Tina. How are you today? You are the onlyest one. I think Miss Johnny is having a sale today over at the junk journal shop. And I'm just here inking pages. What are you up to today? Anything fun? And then when Bima was cutting fabric yesterday, so I had her add my zombie fabric from our original trip here, which has been sitting around for 5 months. I totally forgot about it until she started pulling out her stuff, because she bought zombie and kind of Halloween-y fabric with pinup girls on it, and mine was a little more kitschy. But I had forgotten I had it. It was sitting in my room, tucked away so it wouldn't get dirty or damaged. And I had her cut it last night, so I got some fat quarters of that. Some of it's for journaling, and some of it will go for sale. But I've also found I had gotten some older National Geographics when we were venturing in Arizona on our way here. Hi, JD. How are you? From the 1960s. So I brought those out for the next time I do magazine harvesting. These are older National Geographics, and they've got some really neat ads on the backs of them. But also, you know, the photography is just different because it was the 70s. And none of these are digital, and the paper's a little bit less glossy than the newer ones. So the next time we magazine harvest, those will be there. I had totally 100% forgotten about those. So that'll be exciting when we harvest those ones. I think there'll be some great stuff in there. Plus, I've got one with a vintage Christmas ad on it, and one with a vintage Halloween ad. I believe they're Coca-Cola ads. So fun. Thought that would be fun for us to do one of these days upcoming. And tomorrow is Macabre Mixed Media. So we'll be doing the card game that we've done before. Still working out the kinks on that journaling by fives thing. But that, come hell or high water, I will have that prepared for the next Saturday. I'll be on at 11 a.m. tomorrow, Tina. I'm going to do the Macabre Mixed Media at 11 a.m. I hope you guys will be able to come. Hey, Carla, how are you? I did not even see you come in the room. So it'll be the Macabre Mixed Media game, which we've played already. We saw the Putty Tat. Did he run by? And on the 14th, come hell or high water, I will have the last of the kinks worked out on that journaling by fives game. And we'll be able to do that. It's a little more complicated than I thought. And so it's taking a little bit to get it worked out so that it'll work, in a reasonable time frame. We won't be on here for 86 hours trying to play one silly game. I don't want to eat up everybody's whole day. It's just supposed to be for a little bit. Just have a little fun. But when I was talking to myself earlier before there were people in the room, I've got that fabric that I showed you guys. I think it was last week with the computer, for the white fabric with the computer code on it. And that's got, that's sitting in a batch of tea dye right now. Getting a little color on it. And when I'm done here, I'll be pulling that out. And I've got the last of a coffee batch that I'm about ready to set out to dry. So when I do that, I'll be starting a new coffee batch. But it's a fun 86 hours. Carla's at the 4-letter word. Ew. How's your energy level? Are you getting back to something approaching normal? Or are you still kind of in the recovery phase? I hope that you're coming along well. I know this isn't terribly exciting. You call it a business. That's what I'm going to start calling it when I talk to myself. It's a business conference. Because who else's opinion do I need but me, myself, and I? Best business conference ever. We always agree on everything, except when we don't. So after this fun shenanigans, it'll be gluing. I'll be gluing the maps to the backgrounds. And I only did that because they're vintage maps. And, you know, they're prone to tearing along the seams. So I wanted to give them a little bit of a backer. You never want to create pages that are super thick in a junk journal, but I just didn't think they would hold up on their own. So I thought, well, I'll just back that onto some coffee dyed paper, and I made it a little so it'll have a little border on it. So that will be fun, and then you'll have the back will be just the coffee dyed paper. But I thought it would be fun to do it that way. And then these are really vintage. These are from the 30s. These ones here. These 3 are from the 30s. The rest of them are from the 60s and a few from the late 60s and mostly through the 70s. Yes, she is, Carla. She's got a game going on in her imagination. JD, you always disagree with yourself? Yeah, you're right. I could totally. You still have the fatigue. I get it. I totally get it. And I feel like the older I've gotten, the recovery time is just a little bit longer. And the exhaustion lasts for a little bit longer than it did when I was just in my 30s. And next month I'll be 49, so I'm only a year away from 50 now. And I remember when I calculated back in my 20s, the date, the year it would be when I turned 50 or 62, something like that, to when I reached quote unquote retirement age, which isn't 62 anymore. Now it's 72. And I looked at the year and I couldn't even imagine the year. And here we are. We're already almost there. The time does fly. But I remember thinking, God, that's so long from now. But it seemed to pass very quickly. JD, you're 54. Carla, you're 50. I'm going to be 49 this year, next month. And next year I'll be 50. In 2021, I will have been alive for 50 years. And I remember checking the date, like doing the math on that. And it seems so far away. And boom, here I am. These are a slightly off-white color, but it's from parts of California from the 1930s. I think this one was 1934 or 1931, something like that. So somebody's getting a very vintage map in one of these journals I'm making. But, I figured I have them. They're just sitting around in my room, gathering dust. So I brought out a handful, and I was looking for ones, that had good, busy, nothing with like, I have a few that they're, to be honest, they're just not terribly exciting. And so I looked for the ones that had more interest on them. When I folded this one out, I was like, why not? What difference does it make if it's from 1934? And so I cut it up, and I'm inking the edges. And somebody will have a super special. Where did I do with the paper? Oh, there it is. Wound up down there. Somebody will get a kick out of that, I hope. You've never been hyper? JD is mellowed with age. Cool. I've never been hyper, but I think, some of you have been watching me long enough that, like I get spazzy sometimes and I talk over myself when I'm like nervous or anxious. It used to be worse. I am severely socially awkward, and it's worse like in person if I feel really uncomfortable. So if you can only imagine, roll that back 20 years. What kind of socially awkward that was. Considering I believe I'm way more mellow now than I used to be. Just not a good socializer. Hi, Rose. How are you? I'm doing good. Just inking some pages, and then we're going to glue some stuff down. Nothing terribly exciting. It ranks up there probably below tearing things out of magazines. But I'm right in the middle of this. I've been working on it for 2 days now. This is the second day. Because, you ink for a while, and then you take a break because your hand is tired or whatever. Or you just get bored with yourself. And I started that TV show on Netflix, the Dracula one. Not the V-Wars, but the one called Dracula. The episodes are an hour and a half long, just about. They're like an hour and 20 minutes. So they're like mini movies. And I kind of liked it. I don't like so much the flies. I'm not a big fan of. I like bugs, but flies. Up to no good. They renamed me here at the 4-letter word. They're calling me Katie. Why are they calling you Katie? I missed it. I was sleeping, hon. I will go back and watch it though, because I really want to see what you got up to. It can be, but the truth is, Rose, if you keep going live, it gets easier. I still have like a moment of sheer panic every time before I go on. I'm not gonna lie. I was not subscribed to you. I'm a bad person. Okay, I am subscribed to you, Miss Rose, and I will never miss another one unless I'm sound asleep, because I don't hear squat when I'm sleeping, unfortunately. But I will definitely go back and rewatch that. I'm excited. I'm so glad you went live. That is awesome. But I just subscribed to you, so I will try and make it to the next one. It does get easier, but like I said, I always have that moment of sheer panic right before I go live. And I don't know if that ever really goes away if you're kind of an anxious person like that. Like I'm socially anxious, so I think I'll probably always have a little bit of that. But doing it gets easier. So I hope that it will get easier for you quickly. But I bet you did an awesome job. And when I'm all done here and I'm ironing papers and stuff, I will head on over and give you a watch. I used to not be able to do hands. I could only do face videos. So I used to do BookTube for a little while, because most people who do BookTube use their face and they talk at the camera like they're talking to an audience. I much prefer hands only. I feel more comfortable like that. Okay, so Plus, you know, if you're crafting and stuff, or you're talking about crafting, you want to be able to show your hands and maybe what you're working on or what you're talking about. It's a little easier. And I feel much less self-conscious. I feel a lot more self-conscious when I'm doing videos that show nobody knows what I look like. Just your hands. JD, have you ever done videos? Oh. Oh my gosh. My first few, my face was bright red and I was very stuttery, stammery. Sometimes I just sat there in silence because I didn't know what to say. She is a sweetie, isn't she, Carla? But I think you get over that over time, even if you're just doing face videos, because you know you get a little more comfortable with the more time that you do it. You just start to relax into it a little bit. But you'll probably find the first few minutes of every live for a while will be nerve-wracking for you. And even that will pass in time. Oh. I didn't even know you had videos. Am I not subscribed to you either, JD? I need to pop over there and have a look at your channel. I'm subscribed, but I don't have your bell rung. Okay, so I'll ring your bell. And that way, if you ever do a video, I'll know. Well, maybe I'll know. Maybe YouTube will tell me. Looking for the bat in the barn. Okay, I'll have to go watch your videos. Oh, good. I'm glad you're having fun. So I rang your bell, so if you ever post another video, hopefully YouTube will love me enough to give me a notification when it's happening. But now I'll know that I need to check it, you know, semi-regularly to see if I posted anything. And this is what edging looks like with me. I'm a messy girl. So we have this one and one more, and then we start with the glue. Oh boy, glue. So exciting. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff lined up for today. And I said before when nobody was in here and I was talking to myself, anybody that ordered anything, paper, deli paper, and paper, whatever it is that you ordered, those packages are gone. They went out this morning. I was a little late because I guessed how far down the deli paper was. So there were a few things on top of it. But I got them all out yesterday enough to do all the things. I ironed them because the deli papers don't really need to be pressed because they're so thin. And I got those together last night and got all the packages, labels printed up, and they went out. Mr. Mike took them off to work with him today and popped them in the mail first thing this morning. I think they got there about 8 o'clock-ish. He leaves for work about 6:45, and it's not that far away. So those will be winging their way to you. If you didn't get your tracking number and you'd like it, just let me know and I will shoot you off your tracking number. Most of them are through that new flat thing, and they're coming first class mail. The tracking number is a little bit different, but it does get tracked usually to its destination. So we haven't checked the mail yet today, so it's possible our mail doesn't come till between 3 and 5 usually. But I will let you know as soon as it arrives. It could be sitting out there, or it could be waiting to be delivered today. They don't. I guess Bima said our regular mailman broke his ankle a few months back, and so we've had a lot of substitute mail people. So we get delivered very late because, you know, it's fill-in from other routes that come and do the ones where they need a substitute carrier. So our mail does not usually come until very late in the afternoon. Oh, I wasn't stressing about it. I just I don't like the idea of holding on to people's money and their stuff's not on their way to them. Because I know how I get when I order like something off of Etsy or eBay and the seller just sits on it for days and days and doesn't mail it. I get a little batty. Because you know you get that thing once you've ordered, you're like, I want it now, I want it now, I want it now. You know what? It wasn't even really a sale. I was talking about it, and you know how witchy is. She was like, deli paper, tea-dyed deli paper. And so I sold a little bit. And her and somebody else were looking for the lined tea-dyed paper, the notebook paper. And I had 2, so those were sold. And, you know, if you ask me for stuff, I'll sell it to you pretty much any time if you know what you want. I'm just pulling out the deli paper now. I've probably got about 50 sheets. And there's still a little bit more in the thing. And I have another half of the same amount that I dyed this time, waiting to go in a second batch. I couldn't get it all in one batch. Because I always on the bottom of it put plain paper so I can add it to my store. But we were doing as an introductory price. I did 25 sheets for $6.99 of the deli paper, and that included the shipping. When it goes in the store, it's going to be $8.50 because of the Etsy fees. You know, got to make a little money so I can keep buying me some dye. So you didn't technically miss a sale, Carla. It was just like people asked for stuff, and I was like, okay. And I made a list, and people paid me, and it was awesome. Because I love giving my stuff to you guys, and I also like making money. You know, who doesn't? We all like that sort of thing. That's why we go to the evil 4-letter word if we have one. I went for years and years and years, and I hated my job, but I went every day because I like getting paid. And the cool thing about deli paper is it's pretty easy to iron, and it still keeps that crinkly thing. I think I have a sheet here somewhere. I think I had like a sheet, and then there's some in my room to be ironed. Let's see. I can figure out. I might have taken it to my room. I don't know. Maybe I was smoking the crack. Oh, here it is. So this is how it came out. You know, it was this color to start. It was white to start, just like this. You don't even have to put on a bra. I know. That's my least favorite part about going out. So, but it's got that. And this one is iron. So this is how it came out after the dyeing. And deli paper always kind of has a delicious noise. So these have light markings on them. You're not going to get any of the heavy markings like you do with coffee. But I wanted something subtle that would be fun in a journal that would still be, look, you can still kind of see the map through it. So if you have a decorative page and you put this in between, you're still going to be able to see the design, but it'll be a muted version until they flip the page. And so I'll have more packs going in the store coming up. So that's what you're getting. You're getting 50 sheets of that. I hope that you'll enjoy it. This deli paper is one of my favorite things that I discovered I can dye. I'm just loving experimenting with it. And so pretty soon I'll be, this stuff that I pulled for the tea dyeing, this is why I said there wouldn't be any more colors probably with deli paper, because I put the last couple hundred sheets in for tea dyeing. But some lovely person out there sent me some deli paper, 12 by 12s. So deli paper shall continue for the near future. And I already pulled it out, and it feels exactly the same as this. It's just a little bit bigger. So I'm not sure if I'm going to sell it as a 12 by 12 because Bima does have a guillotine cutter, and I really like this 9 by 12 size because it just needs to be cut down a tiny bit to go in most journals. A 12 by 12 would be very much larger, and I would have to fold it and then fold it in half this way. The good thing about deli paper though is if it comes folded like that, you just have to run an iron over it real quick, or put it over some steam, like if you've got a pot of water boiling. It's awesome, Carla. It's super, super awesome. It has a great feel. It's the same like the same weight as this, because I've had some before where it's thicker and it's more waxy. But what you sent is very much similar to this. I think it'll dye just as well. I've got, when my green dye gets here, which should be next week, I'm going to drop some into the green and see how it turns out. So I was toying with the idea of cutting it down to the 9x12 size. But you know me, I'm a fairly lazy person. I might just sell the 12x12 sheets and send them folded. If you don't have like an iron that's you know, if it's your clothes iron, you probably don't want to use it for paper. You can hold the paper briefly over like a pot of boiling water, and you have to do it a couple of times. They called it burger wrap. Okay, that's good to know, because the one I got was called sandwich wrap. And this one came in a box that said sandwich wrap, but it didn't have the box checked of what kind it was. So we tried some hot wax paper that's a deli paper, but it's a lot thicker. And it does take the dye, but I don't think I can iron it because it actually is very waxy. I think it might make a waxy buildup on the iron. So I would just have to press it. And I'm still going to use it because it dyed up beautifully. And I don't have the green. I put in 3 for the green paper. And I don't have them out here. They're in my room, you know, in a plastic container. It took the color well, and it's still a nice paper. It's just not the same weight, and you don't get the same sound. But now I know what to look for. If they called it burger wrap, that should be pretty safe. So the good thing about the 12x12 though is I think getting it in the 12x12 is actually cheaper than buying it in the 9x12. We might happen to already have this, which she got in a Scavenger, and I've never seen anything like it. Ah, there you go, Carla. That'll work too. Oh, did I not trim the edges on this last piece? Silly me. So that's coming up. But it is a really great quality of paper. I'm super happy with it, and I think you guys will be happy in turn. Carla, have I showed you guys the green color my super secret green that I've been working on? Because I have some here if you guys would like to see it. Oh my God. That did not want to trim. I wonder if the little thing is full. It gets persnickety when it gets full. It doesn't like to trim the corners. So if you guys want to see the green, I could show you. Because I'd like to send you some, Carla, as a gift, so that you can see how it came out. But if you'd rather do tea dyed, I can put some tea dyed into the next batch. I'll send you a nice chunk of deli papers. Let me pull these. I don't have the plain green, what I have out here right now, because it just came off I was sorting through it to take out the damages. I haven't taken out the damages yet. So this is, the base is the apple green, but I've added a couple other colors to kind of, I'm going to call it Monster Mash. Oh, look, it's not coming out the right color. Let me go grab the Outlight. I'll be right back. I wanted to show you a truer color. So let me go grab that Outlight and see if we can't get, because it's showing a little bit darker than it really is. All right, I'm back. I'm just going to plug in the Outlight. I hope. Maybe. Mike seems to have moved his thingy.
You poking the light over the like this. It's a cookie thinking, Michael.
Yeah, I think Mike moved his where everything plugs into.
No, maybe you should look up plug it over here.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this now. Hold on. There's one other place I might be able to put it.
You should put the wire.
I know.
Wire.
You're right. I should put the wire in.
I think it's going
It's going right under my desk, right?
into the
Is it silly when grown-ups crawl around on the floor?
This is the car change.
You're right. You are so correct.
Just like over here.
Okay.
Then green and
Now let's see if I can get this lit up a little bit better for you guys. Okay. Fuzz stuck to it and paper. Okay. So all right. Oh, so you would like some of the green when I put it in the batch? Yeah, I will definitely send you some. It has a little bit of yellow undertones. That's just part of the process because green is blue and yellow mixed. So if they separate it all in the batch, you're gonna. So there's some yellow undertones in this, but I'm calling it Monster Mash. And you know, I'm gonna go grab some of the plain so you can see, because I got some effects on this paper, but it's not as awesome as let me go grab the other, because I got good effects on the regular paper. Hold on, I'm sorry. All right, here we are. This is the plain paper. Okay, glasses. That's actually just fabric samples that I tea-dyed. I was trying something out. All right, so these are the plain papers, the 24-pound paper. Let me flip it this way so you can see more of it. And this is the reason I'm calling it Monster Mash. It's a little light and a little dark. I love the way it came out. Just a second. I'll let you out just a second. So you got some really great effects. They're subtle effects, but now I think this is going to look great with the yellow. When the yellow comes out, and next to some pink for sure. So it works for spring, but also imagine this with some purple and some black. So I'm thinking Frankenstein green, Frankenstein's monster green, right? So I'm really happy with how this came out because I think I'm going to get some versatility out of it. And on this particular batch, I got quite a lot of occlusions, the white spots. And that just means the paper had bubbles between it. And I try to cultivate that when I put the paper in because I like the effect. So I'm really happy with how this batch is coming out. And now that's my not so super secret color, which is, this is about a quarter of what's going to come. I have 5 more bottles of the green coming. It's a total of 5 or 6 batches to get all the paper dyed for a kit. So it takes a little bit of time. In the meantime, until the rest of the green comes, I'm going to start my yellow batch because I'm going to release a green and a yellow at the same time because I think they're complementary. The green one will probably be a little bit small. You want it all. The green batch will probably be a little bit smaller than the yellow batch. I'm not sure yet. I'm still working on. Thank you. I'm glad you guys. It came out really good, right? I can see that in a spring journal. When you put it next to yellow and pink, it looks great. But if I put that next to purple, red, black, I think it's going to be more like a Halloween green when it's placed with papers that are darker. So I think it's a very versatile color. you're not that patient to dye. Oh my gosh. It's a whole process, and I have a way that I put the paper in, so I try and get the occlusions, and it's a whole process for me. But, you know, we've talked about it before in the past. Paper dyeing, and I didn't find this out until I was about 41 or 42, maybe even 43. I made some paper for somebody who was bedridden and couldn't, but loved to craft. So her husband would bring her one of those little rolling trays like you get in the hospital with all the stuff that she needed. But at the time, there was really nobody selling coffee paper the way there are so many people doing it now. People usually just swapped it or whatever. But she couldn't like stand in the kitchen and, you know, as kind and generous and I'm sorry, my nose is still stuffed up. And amazing as her husband was, he did not, because he was older too, he didn't want to stand in the kitchen and do that. You barely cook, much less dye paper. Well, I'm always here if you need some. So I originally made my first batch for her, and I was hooked. I genuinely love dyeing paper. I love experimenting with the color, with different types of paper, with figuring out what'll keep its lines and what won't, what kind of paper is, you know. And I wound up with the 24-pound paper because I had so many damages with the 20-pound paper that it was more economical to pay a little bit more for the paper. And I just like the way the color, the 24-pound paper, I feel like, now I couldn't definitively say this is true because I've never done a side-by-side comparison where I dye, you know, 20-pound paper and 24-pound paper next to each other and really looked at the color saturation, but I feel like I get better color on the 24-pound paper. Now that could just be because I sell 24-pound paper and I'm prejudiced, but I just really prefer it overall. But you know me, I try line paper, graph paper. I take stuff out of other notebooks. I harvest what I can from anywhere I can. I do book pages, and so I just discovered tea dyeing and then later the dip dyeing, the colored pages. Then that was an accident too. The first dyed paper I did colored was for somebody's wedding. They wanted that blush paper that I make. They wanted it for their wedding invitations and some of the signage. You know, they would laminate it, and they wanted that was one of their colors, was that blush pink. So that's how I started with that. And I just gave it away. They paid for the dye, and I already had paper. And so that's how that started. But the first few times was for me to just give it away to this lady who she couldn't. And until she passed away, I gave her paper. Oh, I still have my plastic bucket. I didn't get rid of it. And I have my little bit of the plastic tablecloth. I've been working on getting some more. So if you want to send me placemats, I would be perfectly happy. Yes, please. Uh-oh, phone ringing. And let me go over and answer that real quick.
Call from 800 service.
Hello? I know, all those calls, and they're just people that's just recordings, stupid recordings. I would love whatever you're willing to send, JD, but don't put yourself out. I don't know. They got as far as this call will be recorded, and it's from an 800 service, and almost all of those turn out to be telemarketers. Oh, JD, you're so sweet. Did you ever get the tickies I sent you? From Els and me? We sent you the used ones, but we also tried to send you some brand new ones, so I hope they arrived okay. Look at that. All of them are done. Woohoo! So yeah, I haven't got any yellow to show you yet, but I did show you guys the yellow tags before. But this evening or tomorrow morning, I think the last of the paper will come out. Oh, good. I'm glad. I don't know what you're going to use the used tickets for, but I wish you the very best on that. I can't even imagine. But it's a fun shape, too. So, you know what this means. It's glue time, baby. I answer telemarketers all day long. I know. It's just such a useless call. They call them fenders. They have a special name for that. It makes it sound better. Let me grab my glue, and I'm actually going to start my new glue. The new Mod Podge and the brush. There we go. So let me make sure the ink is all the way closed up, and we'll put that away. Because now I have inky hands. Look at my inky hands. Oh. I think I sent some extras too, some ones that had names written all over them. And this is the score from Tuesday morning that Els got, that she was pretending she was going to buy so that I would have a temper tantrum. I got this bottle of Mod Podge for $4.99, which is a really good price for Mod Podge. Oh, that's cool. You missed the one where we were in the store. We were in a Dollar Tree. And it was a telemarketer, and Els could tell by the caller ID on the phone. And she answered it for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline in a really concerned voice and asked how she could help. And they could not get, literally, she hadn't even finished the whole thing, and it was like, click. So I guess that's one way to get rid of them. And one time, a long time ago, when I still lived in Phoenix, Zorba's, the adult shop, was down the street from us. And this one telemarketing place kept calling me every single day. So after about, I don't know, must have been about 30 days, I was just sick of it. I don't know why they kept calling every day. But I finally answered it as if I worked at the porn shop. They never called back. Okay, Rose. But that's a good one, housekeeping. Housekeeping. That is a good plan right there. So yeah. I know they've got a job to do. I don't hate the individual telemarketers, although you do choose your job more or less. Mike has the same thing that does that, and he doesn't really answer those either. Every once in a while, he'll answer one just for shits and giggles. So here I am. See, this is what I'm talking about. They're very prone to ripping along the seams because they've been used. And this one is for Texas. It's for the area around Dallas. And right there is where my ex-husband lives. And my youngest son, who just turned this year in August, he'll be 20. No. 2020? Yeah, he'll be 20 because he was born in 2000. I like that. JD, you burst out your Korean accent. Oh, perfect. That is perfect. I like it. Those are all excellent plans for having a little fun with some telemarketers. And I worked for a telemarketing firm for a charity for a little while. It's one of the 2 jobs I've been fired from in my whole life because I didn't understand what the guy was asking. I think I was 17 or 18 when I had this job, and he was asking if it was a not-for-profit charity. But the way he was asking, I didn't understand him, what he was actually asking. So I said yes, because it was a charity, but I didn't understand he was asking about the not-for-profit, and it wasn't. And, they recorded the phone calls, and the guy called the Attorney General or Better Business Bureau or something, and I got fired for that. But he asked it in such a roundabout way that I just didn't understand And I probably should have asked somebody, but I was young and I have social anxiety. But I got fired in front of everybody. It was horrible. It's one of the most mortifying experiences I've ever had. As a young person, we've all had way more horrible life experiences than that. If you've attained any kind of age, it was just I think I was 17 or 18 at the time. I probably shouldn't have been working that job, but I really needed a job because I had kids. Well, I had a kid. Let me get that right there correctly. Turn that over so we don't get any glue. Yeah, it was to get fired in front of everybody and to be that. So I was so socially insecure. I think I burst into tears and ran out of the room. Need a little more glue right along that edge. Didn't quite get there. So now one of my more, and that's not even that bad. In retrospect, it's not that bad, I guess. I mean, I did lie to somebody, but not intentionally. I just didn't understand what they were asking. And I understood why they had to fire me. It was just in the moment. What a horrible thing. I didn't get my bone folder. I actually didn't even bring my bucket out here today yet. That's how on the ball I am. So we'll use the scissors. Try to get all these edges done. The other job I was fired from was for Target, which I hated that job too. We all saw that coming. Oh, wow. I always sound rhymy too. Halfway between Houston and Dallas. Oh, so you're from this area. Let's see. Awesome. Well, this is going into one of those journals I'm making. I just thought it would be a fun element. I had all those maps that I brought with me. I got fired on the phone, then had to go the next day furious to pick up all my tools. The only reason they fired me was because they sold the business. Oh my goodness, JD, that's pretty shitty. Nope, I got fired. I mean, I understand the reason. I did a terrible thing in terms of if you tell somebody you work for a not-for-profit and you work for a for-profit, that's actually pretty shady. But being as young as I was, I really didn't understand the distinction. And the way he asked it was very confusing. So yeah, my ex was a big Cowboys fan, and he always wanted to live in Texas, and it was one of my no-no states. I don't want to live anywhere that has hurricanes if I can avoid it. No place with tornadoes if I can avoid it. And so we lived a lot of places, but never in Texas. And he always wanted to live in Texas. So when we got divorced, he moved on down there, and he's very happy. And I'm glad he's happy. Because I would have never been happy living there, I don't think. I lived in Houston for a little while, and it wasn't bad. But again, I was really young. That's actually, Houston is where I got fired from that job. And that is a true story. Need some place to put these. Here, I'll use the corner of Mike's desk for, he's not here at the moment. That way I'm not being disrespectful. That's a terrible thing to just sell the business. It's like renting a house to somebody. Oh, so it's California Lone Pine to Bridgeport. And these ones came out of a collection from like a little museum. I bought them on eBay. And I don't remember why I originally bought them. But I was junk journaling when I bought them. So probably I thought, hey, I wonder what that'll be like to work with. And then forgot about them. but I'm trying to use them up now. So these ones from this map, I got 3 pieces off this map. Are some of the oldest ones in my collection. I didn't use any of the other older ones because they're more glossy. They're very, very thin, but they're on kind of a waxy paper, and they're hard to glue down. So I did not use any of those. I have to test a small portion of it and see what kind of glue would actually work best with that before I actually try to use them. So I'm going to get a little bit more around the edges on this one because the other one, so much of the edges wasn't. And I know why that happens. It's because I don't want to go over the edge and get glue all over the back piece, because then I have to wait for it to dry to use it. Make sure that's not spilled. Okay, so that's the back. No, wait, that's the back. I want the back side there. All right, let's see if we can. I need to pull this up a little bit. Come on, travel with me. You don't want it to be all weird. Needs to be down a little bit, huh? Okay, that looks pretty good. Let me rub the glue off my fingers. Oh, there you go. Dogs and cats are not people. So much easier to get along with sometimes. Now, I've often said I'm not a dog person. That doesn't mean I hate dogs. It just means I don't want to own one, because dogs are actually a lot of work. They're like toddlers that never grow up. And I actually don't mind cats, but, you know, as we've seen with Harry, they can be sometimes kind of jerks. And I like candles and stuff, so and you can't really have them with cats because they push stuff off and they break things. And God, you know, what kind of horrible thing would it be if your cat pushed a lit candle off of something and set your house on fire? Or a waxy one, and, you know, I can't see them really getting close to something hot, but that's always been a fear for me. So I've just never really been a pet person. We had cats for a while because, you know, kids love pets. And we had some hamsters. Hamsters don't live very long, though. You loved hamsters, JD? I didn't mind the hamsters. I would probably have hamsters again. They're a little bit smelly, but, you know, you just got to clean their enclosures fairly often. But they're cute. They are nocturnal, so if you get them anything that squeaks, they had a wheel in their thing. Squeaky, squeaky, squeak all night long. So you probably don't want them in your room if you have them, but they were really good pets. And one of the things that it did allow us to touch on is, you know, death is a thing without being like super morbid. Sometimes things die. So we went through over about 7 years. We went through, I don't know, maybe six hamsters. But I didn't mind them, and I don't mind fish. Fish are okay. Kind of low maintenance, you know. You've got the right kind of setup. I liked our fish. So we did have one fish for a while that we finally gave him away. He ate all the other fish. We named him Jack. Should have named him Jeffrey. He's a little bit of a... And he got really big. All right, so number 2. Moving right along. You always had hamsters as a kid. I've never had a bunny. My Liam lived on a farm for a while when his dad with one of his dad's girlfriends, and they had bunnies. And Liam always wanted a bunny after that. But we didn't have to. We didn't have a place to put an outside hutch that it would not have been cruel because of where we lived. So we didn't ever wind up getting a bunny. I'm probably not opposed to bunnies either. But again, it's a little bit bigger of an animal. A little more care is needed. So on my own, I probably wouldn't own bunnies. But if they were in the house or in a hutch, I don't think I would hate it. I just don't want to be a dog owner personally. I don't hate dogs. And a lot of people think if you say you're not a dog person that you hate dogs, and that's not what I mean. I do not hate them at all. They're just a lot of work. Most dogs need a lot of attention, and they're good to have. They make you get out of the house to walk them and stuff. So I get why a lot of people have them. They're excellent companions. And if you raise them right, they're very loving usually. But it's just not for me. I've taken care of all the people I want to in my life. I don't want to also be responsible for a toddler that might live, for an extended period of time. Because dogs, they don't live a real long time, but it's not short like a hamster. You're signing up for a commitment there, I guess that's a long-winded way to explain I have commitment phobia. JD, you're a ferret person? That's the outside. This is the inside. All right. Ooh. Dogs are high maintenance pets, yeah. Oh, there you go. Well, that's awesome. I think people buy ferrets because they're cute and they don't realize how much work they're gonna. I had a boss when I worked at the Wyndham for the Wyndham hotels in Phoenix. I worked at the Phoenix Metro Center Hotel, which is no longer there. It's called something else. I mean, the hotel is still physically there. It's been bought twice since I worked there by different companies. Uh-oh. Somebody got in trouble. Ferrets are really high maintenance, yeah. She had ferrets. She had two. And she said one of them was kind of a little bit special. Like the other one seemed more intelligent, I guess. She said they basically had to be careful with him because he was not a very bright bulb. But she loved ferrets. She loved them to death. What's her name?
Not a bright bulb. Mine's perfectly fine.
I'm talking about my old boss's ferret. She had one that she called special. Only she used the word that we're not supposed to say anymore.
Retarded?
Yeah, that one. He was short but special. She had two, but the one, she said, just couldn't quite get there. All right. So are you all enjoying my super boring activity? Do you need to go outside now? All right, give me a second. I'll let you outside. All right, come on. Let's get you outside. Or you drool on me or something. That's funny, JD. Well, she keeps getting out the stool that goes in the bathroom for, wash your hands, go to the potty, and playing with it. But then she falls off it and hurts herself. So it's just supposed to live in the bathroom because it's safer for her. But she really likes that stool. So, yeah, there's the story of all the pets I've ever owned. We had cats. My mom always had cats when I was little, and until I was a teenager, basically until I left home. She liked cats a lot. We always had 1 or 2 cats. And they lived for a long time, so, we only had a few while I was growing up because cats live a while. The only time we didn't have pets was when we went to Germany because she didn't want to have to quarantine an animal. So she found a good home for the cat we had at the time. She didn't want to have to quarantine him to go and quarantine him to bring him back. She thought that would be cool. So she found him a good home. And then she got cats. She got the cats again when they moved back to the United States. They moved to South Carolina because that's where I had my first kid. And when they visited, they just loved the area. So my dad retired there when he retired from the Air Force. And he passed away when I was when I was in my 20s. He passed away at 46. And she still lives there because she just loves the South. She did leave for a few years to go take care of her dad when he was dying in California, and she went right back once he passed. I liked South Carolina, but I did not at all like the humidity. It is so humid there. And it was one of those places where in the summer, in the summer it's so hot that you walk outside after you've had a shower and everything, and you immediately want to go back inside and take a shower. So it was not my favorite place in the whole wide world. I got a big pocket with no glue on it. That's nice. Wow. Special. Just take care of that, won't we? Ginger, just a second. I'm coming. I can't glue and let you in at the same time. Hold the phone. Hold. Ginger. That dog. Yep, keep running, Harry. Keep running. There you go. Silly dog. I went in. I went out. I went in. I went out. She probably just had to go potty, and she's like, I don't want to be out here now. I think she gets frustrated because she's like, you're sitting right there. Because I'm literally on top of the door. Well, not on top of it, but it's directly behind me. I can spin around in my chair and open and close it. I think she gets frustrated because I won't do it right away sometimes. But dogs don't understand about glue, you know. All right, I think this is going to be the last one. And we'll call it quits for the day because I've been on for 73 minutes, and I'm sure that's quite enough time of you watching me glue things. I'm going to continue gluing until these are done, in between doing all the other things I need to do. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the green paper, a little preview of what's coming up. The paper release date for this month is the 23rd. It'll be Monday the 23rd at 2 o'clock. Because there's too many people live on Friday. I didn't like when I did it on the Friday. Because there were, Stacy's doing her pink poodle thing. She's got the pajama party for the Patreons. And so I know a lot of people go to that because there are a lot of pink poodles in the group. And I try not to, go on when there's a regularly scheduled thing that's been going on forever. And Stacy's been doing the pajama party for, you know, as long as I remember. So, we'll go back to Mondays, and it'll be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll be doing the yellow, which I haven't thought of a fun name for, so it's just yellow. And we will not be calling it PP yellow. It's actually supposed to be a lemon yellow, but I'm altering the color a little bit. I'm going to mix in a second a slightly darker yellow, trying to hope for something in the middle so it's not like blindingly yellow. Oh, you watch wrestling, damn it. Okay, well, I won't be doing that. I'm glad you enjoyed listening in. So that's when those papers will be available, and I'll be, of course, previewing other things, you know, that come out, because I like to show off my goodies. However you guys are spending your days and nights, I hope it brings you great joy and happiness. You all deserve it every minute of every day, as much happiness as you can get. Until I see you again in one of my lives, and I will be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. for Macabre Mix Media. And so until I see you again in one of my lives or in a box somewhere else, I wish you the happiest of crafting. Thank you guys for the thumbs up, and have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll be seeing you again soon. Bye.